I want to start with a very quick apology because I had been pretty horrible to Giants fans, I think really for the last 5 years. And
You covered the team.
well, no, because I feel like when I covered the team, I always tried to be that like, let's try to understand what they're doing guy. Let's try to understand what the team is doing beat writer instead of like the this guy sucks, fire this guy kind of guy. Because there's already enough of that in New York, and I tried to stand out in that way. So I feel like I kind of had a good reputation. But the from the Joe Judge and Pat Shermer eras on, I think I was hard on the fans because my idea was you guys really don't have it that rough, right? You won a Super
Yeah.
Bowl in '07, you won a Super Bowl in 10, and you call WFAN every day, which is the big talk radio station here, and you cry about how that this is a terrible product and you fly a plane over the stadium and how upset it made me. And to me, I thought that was very performative and ridiculous because, again, you had two Super Bowl wins since 2010. You're basically more successful than the Ravens over the last 25 years,
Well,
even though
I
it
can
doesn't feel
speak
that way.
with the with authority on this topic because I currently live in the capital of that sort of entitlement.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah, where there's lots of complaints up here. And it's amazing because this is like a drought up here, and I think their sixth Super Bowl championship in what was it, 18 years came, I believe it was 7 seasons ago.
This is like I was
6 seasons
watching
ago.
some college football over the weekend, and Dabo Swinney is looking like he's admitting to killing a man on death row because he lost to Syracuse, which, by the way, go Orange. Like he has
Like
to
the ex Notre Dame
apologize.
quarterback too, who went down in the game, but ex Notre Dame. That's like nice combination for you there.
Good. It was a nice. It was a nice college football weekend overall. We beat, another quality opponent in Purdue, and so it was a good to log that W. But he was talking like this was the end of the world, and it's because of these expectations that fans from Clemson have. Like Clemson, where do you get that entitlement of Clemson to be like, we need to get rid of Dabo Swinney? That is an insane mindset to have as a fan of anything. But I say that to say this. I took a lot out on Giants fans, but I found myself almost kind of falling for this team in the offseason and thinking like, if this goes right and this goes right. And then that Cowboys game was so much fun. And then to watch Russell Wilson fire four straight passes out of the back of the end zone when they're
Yeah.
trying to come back and tie this thing on Sunday Night Football. And the Giants lost to the Chiefs, by the way, in case you hadn't figured that out. I felt something like almost like anger inside. So it's like, I guess I must have cared about that enough. And now I'm sympathetic because I wonder why Giants fans weren't like, this is the Chiefs. Let's get everybody off their butts and into the air and let's start cheering. But I was like, oh, I get it. You guys are kind of defeated and a little bit dead inside.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, is it time?
Time for what?
Is it time?
It could be time for a lot of things there.
I don't know. I mean, like that's 2 weeks in a row now that they've put Jackson Dart in the game, and I know he hasn't thrown a pass yet. But it's just now they're 0-3. Andrew Thomas is back in the lineup. They clearly need a spark. I don't know. I mean, the problem is once you do that, there's no turning back, right?
You have to almost, and you and I have talked about this ad
Yeah.
nauseum, and I wish it was something that fans understood a little bit better. It has to happen in a way that all of the rest of the team gets on board. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like
Yeah.
something has to happen in practice. Something has to happen where he clearly surpasses Russ and makes Russ obsolete in that way. And so I don't know what that is. I don't know if as a coach you could set it up or rig it in a way to make it happen. I'm sure you could. I mean, these guys have been around for 30, 40 years. They've seen everything. But something has to happen where Malik Neighbors goes into that game thinking, I got my guy. Because I will say this. His body language at the end of a game is among the worst that I've ever seen for like a star player on a
Neighbors, yeah,
consistent basis.
yeah.
It is, but am I wrong on this? Like it was almost
But this was a
appalling.
question with him coming out. You know what I mean? Like this has been a
Rolling his
question.
eyes before every snap, like spitting his mouthpiece out. And listen, I'm not one of those guys that's like every down you have to be thankful and kiss your coach. But
No, but when you're one of the best players in the team, there is, that responsibility
yeah,
that
man.
you carry, and the camera's going to be on you a lot, and it's going to be on you to help set the tone. And look, like even for a guy that young, and he's only in the second year, so you want to give him some grace for that. Uh, Look, there's a responsibility that comes with talent, and that responsibility is the other guys in that locker room are going to look and see what you can get away with. And then for them, it's going to be, I can get away with X, Y, or Z, or like this guy's holding himself to a really high standard, or the coaches are holding him to a really high standard. So I have to adhere to that standard too.
Yeah.
It's a very simple thing. And, I think we've seen this with star receivers in the past, and it's something you've got to pay attention to. I mean, I think it's a big part of what Beckham's problem was, like it's hard to have a guy like that as the best player on your team.
Yeah.
It really is. And
Yep.
people don't want to hear that because people think, okay, well, won't you just put together a put together a put together a mosaic of the best players you possibly can and makeup of the team be damned. When Odell Beckham was at his best was when he went to a team where he wasn't the best player. Like
Right.
that stretch he had with the Rams at the end of the year, like no one was looking at him to set the tone for anything. And that's
Nope.
when he was at his best. Right. And I think that goes to show you how important it is for a player like that, who's got that much talent and ability to carry himself a certain way. It can have an effect on everybody, or else you got to get him when he's lower than what. So then people won't look to him for those sorts of things. Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see where this all goes next, because they're 0-3 now. The schedule is tough the rest of the way. And there's that big picture question at quarterback. And it's hard not to bring job security into this, right? So they play the Chargers next week. Then they're at the Saints. So that may be their first win. Then Philly, Denver, Philly again, San Francisco.
I think we're
I
beyond.
mean, I don't know, Connor. Does that not look like 1-7?
Well, yeah, but and in that
Or
way,
1-8? 1-8.
I think
Jeez.
we're beyond job security. We really are. We're beyond job
But
security.
if we're talking about job security, and I just want to talk about, I know you say beyond job security, but does part of the job security thing become we need to get the young guy in there to show that we're actually making progress here?
Football's back, and Underdog is the best place to make picks and win money all season long. Playing on Underdog is easy. Just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like touchdowns, receiving yards, interceptions, and more. It's simple, guys. You just download the app and then you jump into the game. You can win tons of money. And more than anything else, it just makes the experience just a little bit more fun. You get that little bit of an edge when you're playing. You're sitting on your couch. You're hanging out with your friends. It's just a little extra something to do. Week 4 on Underdog, I'm looking at Saquon Barkley. He's going up against that Bucs defense. Can he have higher than 70 rushing yards? The Eagles defense now, or the Eagles offense, they're shifting more to a passing attack. What might that look like for Barkley? That's for you to decide. You get to get into the game. Download the app today and sign up with promo code MMQB to score $50 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. That's promo code MMQB. Millions of fans have already won billions making picks on Underdog. Will you be next? Underdog. Make picks. Win money.
Must be 18 plus, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, New Jersey, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 HOPE line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369.
So yes, I used to, at the MMQB, I used to write a basically like a nuclear option list of a coach who's about to get fired.
Was going to the rookie quarterback on the list?
I mean, it's up there. I mean, first one is always. It's like the drummer in Spinal Tap who always dies. You have to fire the defensive coordinator. That's the first move. It's always the first move, right? And then there is, well, no. Before you fire the defensive coordinator, you make the preseason storyline. I'm going to be more involved with the other side of the ball this year.
Then you fire the opposite side of the ball coordinator.
And then you fire and then you end up, when it not working, fire the other guy anyway. And so, yeah, going to the rookie, I guess, is in there at some point. Listen, nobody, I mean, if you listen back to the last 2,000 episodes that we've done together, nobody has championed Daboll in New York more than I have.
I know, and that's the thing that pains me about this is, like, I do think it was a good hire. It
was a great hire.
It just has not worked out. And I don't think they're devoid of talent either. That's the thing.
I don't know. I think that offensive line is awful, and I think that's a root of those issues.
I don't think the line was the problem last night, though. Do you?
I think that, well,
Andrew Thomas, like, I felt like things settled down a little with Thomas back in there.
And Mbo was good too on the other side, where he's better, right? I mean, they're rookie 5th rounder, but to me, it's just, maybe in that case, Russell went from a really good game to a game where he was literally just running into trouble then. I mean, because I did see that on some snaps, right? Where he would scramble into traffic, or he would scramble into a defender and make things worse, or he'd be really late to react to stuff.
It's all the stuff we've seen with Russell.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and I just like, I think, I don't know that you can expect a different result at this stage of his career.
Yeah. You ready to get into some games that matter, or what?
Well, that one does. I mean, it does.
It's important. Yeah.
I do think the Chiefs found something.
That's true. We spilled way too much ink on the Giants on this. I think that I'm not naive enough to say that I think that Tyquan Thornton is going to save this season, but it's like Sean Payton is saying about Bo Nix, and we'll get to the Broncos in a little bit. Like, you just have to keep taking those shots, and eventually they're going to come, and that's a good thing, right? And then it opens the floodgates, and there's a little bit of an avalanche there. And right now, does it have to be, unfortunately, Tyquan Thornton? Yeah, but you keep taking the shots, and it's crazy to me that they basically completed 2 of those back-to-back late in that game, and Thornton made spectacular catches on both of them. Or, well, I guess the one wasn't technically a catch, but one near catch, and then another spectacular catch. The fact that the Giants couldn't stop that is mind-boggling to me. But I think it bodes well for Kansas City. That what were Mahomes' running stats on that one? Did he have to? I actually didn't look.
Yesterday, how many? He ran the ball 5 times.
That's not that bad then. 5 times for 2 yards too. So it's not like
there must be kneel downs in there too, right? Like, I'm assuming if it's 5 for 2 yards, that probably counts a couple kneel downs.
His long was 4 too, right?
Okay,
and so
there were 3 kneel. There were 3 kneel downs at the end of the game.
Right. I mean, so at least we're better. We're getting there.
Right. I mean, and look, like, I think so. He ran the ball twice effectively yesterday then, and I give you a little insight. I was texting with some guys after the game, and they had I don't want to call it a come to Jesus meeting, but they did, like, sort out some of their frustration at halftime. And I think you can see with Pat and the other players in that offense, some of it boiling over in the first half with just, I mean, some uncharacteristic mistakes, like the heroic recovery of the fumble was preceded by, like, Mahomes just making a really bad decision to throw that behind the line, and there were a couple of those. There were a couple where he threw it behind guys. You saw, like, the frustration of some of the receivers. And from what I understand, they sat down at halftime and basically just said to each other, let's settle down and just play every play for itself and just stop trying to make something happen. And I think there was that feeling that the frustration has gotten to a point for them where everybody's trying to do too much on every play because the expectation is always so high there.
Yeah.
And I think you started to see that in the second half, that, like, they were, okay, like, let's just go out and play football. For them, I look at where they're at right now. And I brought this up last week so I went back and I looked, because I always compared them to those great Patriot teams. And, from 11 to 18, the Patriots made the AFC Championship game every year. And in 4 of those 8 years, they started the season 2-2. And what that tells you, as far as I'm concerned, is they would use the start of the season to kind of figure out who they are. Maybe they would be managing some injuries early on. And they felt like they had the leeway to do that because like they knew they would be there in the end. And
Right.
I don't think all this is intentional with the Chiefs, but I think there is an element of it where it's like, okay, like how do we make it through the bye? Let's say their
Right.
buys in week 10, or we're still in a good spot. And so they're the Ravens this week. If they can find a way to win that game, now they're 2-2 at Jacksonville, Lions, Raiders, Commanders, at Bills. So it's not, there aren't a bunch of layups in there, but they're winnable games. And then you talk about getting Rashee Rice back, and you talk about getting Xavier Worthy back. And now Josh Simmons is probably playing less like a rookie at left tackle. And the dynamic for the team could be a lot different.
Yeah, I don't think.
And I don't think the defense has been a problem, really. Defense is fine for the most part.
Yeah, we saw that last night. I'm just one of those guys where, and I know it doesn't make for good discourse early in the season, but I'm just kind of like, come on, like this team is going to be fine. And now the Chargers getting out to a 3-0 start and beating every team in the division is significant.
Yep.
And maybe Kansas City's got to do it, come through the back door this year and go through the wild card.
Yep.
And maybe that awakens something in them. I don't know. I mean, hell, maybe they get Alvin Kamara and Tyreek Hill over the next couple of weeks. I don't know, and open things up before the trade deadline. I
guess that would be the difference between, if I'm making that Patriot analogy with them, because I don't think the AFC East was ever nearly as strong as the AFC West is right now when the Patriots were going through it.
It's true.
Yeah.
You need that extra edge. You need your own Jordan Hudson on the sideline to help. Did you see that, by the way?
I did. Did you see the AI video that, like, at first it was like, when I first saw it, when they first started kissing, I was like, okay, maybe this is real. And then, like, he picked her up off the ground. I'm like, all right, like, probably not real video.
John Gruden is going after him this morning. It's pretty good.
John Gruden went after Michael Lombardi. Did you catch that?
Yeah, I thought that was pretty solid.
Yeah. Seemed like there might be some old I very much respect a grudge held, and there's certainly a grudge held there.